Alright, so today we're going to be working on a 99 Nissan Maxima, and kind of an interesting one. Got a broken fuse, so I'm going to open up the fuse box here. There's two little tabs, one on each side. Lift that off, set it to the side. Here's the main battery fuse. It's a 120 amp fuse, and now, I don't recommend doing this. The battery is still connected, but I was looking at this thing and it looked kind of funny down inside. And lo and behold, they must have blew the fuse, so they literally pinched the two sides that were left over together. I'm not going to, well, let's just say that this is very dangerous, and you would never want to do this, because if for some reason you ever had a short to ground in any of your main wires from your battery, you could have a nasty electrical fire. So I'm going to slip that back on there, and then I'm going to disconnect this negative battery terminal, and we'll get started on removing this. Alright, so before we mess with this anymore, go ahead and remove the negative battery terminal. 13mm wrench. Get that spinning off there. Come on. Give it a twist. Pop off, and I'm going to lay it down behind the battery. And now our chassis is de-energized. Alright, so to get this out, we can't just pull what's left of this fuse out. It's actually bolted down into the fuse block. That's what this is. It's called a fuse block. Alright, so there's these little plastic snaps that we're going to, basically you're going to pull up and unsnap these. Okay, we got one side, and then, let's see here, it doesn't want to come out still. Almost got these. Poppy pop. So we'll slide this down, and there we go. I don't know if you can see down the side there, but there's one of the bolts we have to get out to remove this. There may be another one on this other side. So, I take my flat blade screwdriver and push in on this tab and pull up. Push in on this tab, pull up, and I got a couple more. I'm going to keep pulling up. I'm going to disengage this one. There we go, pull up again, and I'm going to disengage this one. And that should have slid it up, and I should be able to wiggle this a little bit and slide it out. That's the general idea anyway. See, one of these might still be slightly engaged. Oop, pop that back in. Don't think this wants to really lift up because, oh, I see, I got a couple more snaps right here. I got one right here I missed. Look at that. Missing stuff. There's a couple more of the little tabs that are like on the other side. Alright. So I think it's pretty good. Pop down. And now we're high enough out. I'm not going to pull this all the way out because there's a lot of wires that are down in there, and I don't really want to disturb things too much. You don't either, but I've slid it up just enough to be able to get at that bolt and that bolt. Alright, so I'm going to use a 1/4 inch drive ratchet with a 10mm socket and an 8mm socket. The bolt that faces the battery in the engine uses an 8mm. The side that faces the fender well, away from the engine, uses a 10mm. So I'm going to get the 8 first. See righty tighty. Just got to tell yourself that sometimes. At least I do. Alright, so that one's pretty loose. I'm going to switch out to the 10. Pull this back up a little bit. There we go. And now that it's just finger tight, I'm going to go ahead and run this bolt out. Ooh, and it just fell. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to go get my extendable magnet. Alright, so I'm going to use my extendable magnet. Now I could try to get down there with my fingers, but it's probably going to fall. Instead I'll just use this handy little tool. You can get these at you know, auto parts stores or Harbor Freight. Really useful tool. Set that aside. Take my 8mm and run this one out. Come on. Oh, I had it backwards. It's feeling pretty loose. Alright, and that bolt has come out. Now at this point you don't want to lift up on this case because you'll just pull out the terminals. You just want to lift what's left of the fuse out. As you can see, that's some jerry-rigged stuff right there. That's dangerous. You kind of understand someone getting themselves through a pinch, but to leave that like that, yikes, could end badly. And I've almost caused some electrical fires in vehicles myself, doing the old, oh, the fuse keeps blowing, just stick a bigger fuse in there. And doing that, you basically created a fuse that's much greater than 120 amps. And enough so that it could cause a fire. I'm just cleaning some of the old fuse out of there. And let's go ahead and get the new fuse. Alright, here's our brand new fuse. I'm going to go ahead and slide it down into the case, and it goes in just like that. Alright, I'm going to take my 8mm bolt, put it on my socket, and bracing my finger against the socket, get it into the terminal lead that's in there, and then start threading it in. Alright, feels like it's threading in, that's good. Alright, that looks like that's good. Take our 10mm, again, put it on into the socket. I'm just going to tip this back a little bit, bracing the bolt in the socket. Get it into the threads, and get it started. Feels like this one's not wanting to go in. How's it going? It ain't going in. Why would it? I wouldn't want that. Alright, so I'm going to have to pull this up a little more than I want to. Oh, I see. This contact in here doesn't want to be, it wants to pull away. We'll get our screwdriver in there at a funny angle, see if we can get it started. Oop. Still not going in. But I think I know what tool I need for this. Alright, so we're going to try our Phillips screwdriver. I'm just going to... Ooh, she popped out. Come on. Even though this is a bad angle, it'll still probably catch and thread in, which I think it has. I'm going to go ahead and get my socket back on there. Give it a couple twists. And it feels like it's threading in. Yep, it's threading in. Okay, get our ratchet. Go ahead and try tightening it up. And all you want to do is just snug it. Remember, this is a plastic housing, a small, very small bolts. No need to over tighten. Switch back to our 8. Go to the other side. And just snug, just like that. Alright. Alright, so now we just got to snap this back into its holder. Now, as I'm looking at this, you want to make sure all the wires are tucked into the sides. Lift up. The wires are fighting me a little bit. Slide it down in. And we've got our bottom tray here that we'll also need to gently slide up. There we go. Grab it on both sides, and this bottom tray right here, you want to slide it back up. Make sure no wires are getting pinched anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and push down. Those all clicked in, and I'm going to push up from the bottom. Click there. Reach down and pull up. See if I can get my hand down there. Alright, that clicked. So this whole side is clicked, even the bottom piece. Now I'm going to look on this side, make sure no wires are pinched. I'm just going to click up. Make sure each one of those tabs are engaged. Alright. So it's all reinstalled. Okay. Next we have our cover. Go ahead and place the cover back on, make sure it's not backwards. Click it on. And then we've got our negative battery terminal. Go ahead and put that on. And snug down our 13mm nut. And as always, don't over tighten your battery terminals. It can, if you over tighten this, it'll just damage it. All you gotta do is tighten enough that you can't twist it with mild pressure. And that is it. Alright, let's see if she starts. Alright, let's see if she starts. And she fires right up. Try it again. Alright, good to go. Fuse is replaced. I hope this helps anybody who's run into having to change that fuse for whatever reason. And stay rolling greasy.
They see me rolling greasy.